On January 12, 1967, James Hiram Bedford, who was suffering from terminal cancer, passed away. Just minutes later, he made history. He became the first person to undergo cryogenic preservation, hoping to be revived in the future. Since that day, more than half a century ago, Bedford's body has been preserved inside a massive metal capsule filled with liquid nitrogen. Born in 1893 in Massachusetts, Bedford was a professor specializing in education. He wrote books on the vocational development of young people and carried out academic research. At the same time, he was known for his adventurous spirit. He went on safari in Africa, explored the rainforests of South America, and traveled through various countries in Europe. But when he was diagnosed with cancer in his 70s, he refused to accept death as the final destination. Around that time, the concept of human cryonics was just beginning to emerge. Bedford contacted the Cryonics Society of California and held several discussions with its president, Robert Nelson, ultimately deciding to have his body preserved after death. When Bedford took his last breath at his home in California, preparations were already in place. First, artificial respiration was used to supply oxygen to his brain, and then his blood was replaced with a special protective solution. His body was placed into a specially prepared capsule and transported from Los Angeles to a facility in Arizona. In this way, James Bedford inscribed his name in history as the first human subject of cryonics preservation. Newspapers of the time covered the story with sensational headlines such as "A man could wait 20,000 years." However, the scientific community was far from convinced. Dr. John Lyman, head of UCLA's biotechnology laboratory, dismissed the method as naive, arguing that cells would shatter during the freezing process and revival would be impossible. Dr. Stanley Jacob of the University of Oregon similarly stressed that existing technology was not sufficient to achieve such a feat. Bedford's cryonic journey was also fraught with difficulties. In the 1970s, when the maintenance of his capsule was neglected, his son Norman was forced to load his father's body into a U-Haul truck in 1976 to move it to another facility. At times, family members even became part of the unusual story. For example, Bedford's daughter-in-law Cecilia was once photographed posing beside the capsule. In 1991, examinations revealed that Bedford's body was largely well preserved, with only cracks and discoloration on the surface of the skin. Today, he still lies in wait for a second life at the Alcor Life Extension Foundation facility in Arizona inside tanks filled with liquid nitrogen. While all of Bedford's other family members have since passed away, he remains a symbolic figure in the history of cryonics.